In the year 1845, a massive famine spread across Europe and hordes of desperate refugees sailed to America in search of a better life. In 1848, Captain John Sutter found gold near present-day Sacramento, and hundreds of thousands of migrants journeyed to California to seek fortunes. Legions of gold miners went bust and ended up settling the great San Francisco Bay Delta in order to start farms. Massive swaths of marsh and seasonal wetlands were levied and drained. Today, the tiny fraction of remaining unlevied delta is mostly rock walls, impenetrable tangles of invasive aquatic weeds, and deeper open water, none of which is good habitat for salmon, and both the historic indigenous economy and the modern commercial salmon fishery have suffered a near total collapse. Many credible scientists predict sea level rise in the years to come, and that it is not a question of if, but when these levees will breach. This could spell tragedy for farmers. Ostensibly, this would be good for salmon, but much of the farmland has subsided by up to 20 feet, meaning when it floods, it's more of a lake than a wetland, not optimal for salmon. Most salmonids are born in remote mountain streams and make their way to fatten up and slowly adapt to saltwater in the San Francisco Bay. Historically, they would spend months here in the delta eating plankton and small insects amongst the roots and shoots of submerged marsh plants. Chinampas are an ancient Aztec farming system that uses rafts of piled aquatic plants and fertile bottom silt to create quasi-floating gardens that have been called one of the most productive forms of agriculture to ever grace the planet. Inspired by this living tradition, we have developed our own versions that are buoyant, boast mechanizable construction, use invasive species as the source material, with native plants to stabilize the banks and mimic the historic conditions that salmon need to thrive. Phase 2 will use building a human-centered platform optimized for farmer-to-farmer learning. We believe this system of production can yield up to $100,000 per acre, comparable to the most productive local bio-intensive mixed vegetable CSAs. These floating wetland farms will crenellate the edge of our island, where the channels between the beds create the habitat for the salmon. Initially, we will show proof that salmon are thriving here by tracking RFID-tagged hatchery smolt with a state-of-the-art pit tag monitoring array. Imagine the unthinkable paradox. A deeply degraded ecosystem turned into a deeply cultivated wilderness, teeming with wildlife where fish stocks rebound, that financially and nutritionally outperform conventional agriculture without dependence on harsh chemicals and fertilizers, in a vast, beautiful, and climate-resilient delta. Please join our team. We have secured a test site. We are looking for funders, investors, and professional help for the baseline biology and research design, Chinampas construction, farming, development, and monitoring. Help us potentiate regenerative agriculture for the large-scale restoration of ancient ecosystems.